To help you steer clear of design mishaps and costly errors, here are the 10 most common bathroom designer regrets that you should keep in mind throughout your bathroom remodel journey. One of the mistakes I see many first-time renovators make is ordering just enough tiles for their project very early on, thinking they can order more down the line if needed. Unfortunately, this doesn't always work as tiles are produced in batches. And in the tile world, there's a concept known as dialogue, which refers to the slight variations in color that occur between different productions of the same style of tile. While the color of different dialogue will still look nice on its own, the slight discrepancies will look very obvious if the tiles are placed next to each other. When ordering tiles, you need to ask for ones with the same dialogue code. Otherwise, there will be a color difference when you install them. Tile suppliers will send you the same dialogue anyway, but this is especially important when you buy from big box stores, as many of them just grab them randomly off their inventory. That is why it's better to hold off from ordering tiles until closer to installation time, especially for expensive tiles or handmade ones like salvage tiles. So, if you do need to order more, it is likely that the supplier will still have stock of the same dialogue. Another thing I recommend is to order 10 to 20% more supply than what you thought is needed. That way, you can be certain that you have the same exact replacement should a mistake be made during installation or when any of the tiles become broken or damaged in the future. Insufficient ventilation. When it comes to renovations, ventilation tends to be at the bottom of most people's priority list, as aesthetics often take center stage. Yet ventilation is crucial to ensure the longevity of your fixtures and finishes and that your bathroom doesn't become a breeding ground for mold. Invest in a high-quality ventilation fan and make sure it is the right size for the square footage of your bathroom. There's a whole standard for this, but the easiest way is to search for a bathroom exhaust fan calculator. It is typically measured in CFM, cubic feet per minute, or meter cubed per hour, or liters per second in metric. You may even consider getting 2 smaller ventilation fans if there's considerable distance between your toilet and shower, or if the bathroom has a different section. Incorrect fixture height and spacing. Vanities, shower heads, and freestanding tubs are the 3 most common fixtures that are installed at the incorrect height or with incorrect spacing. A common mistake is going with standard vanity height when your household height is not standard. The standard is 36 inches, but you can generally have the vanity anywhere from 32 to 43 inches high. Don't limit yourself to the standard 36 inches height if your household finds that too high or too low. Another mistake is using standard countertop height with a vessel sink when you're supposed to lower the countertop to somewhere between 28 to 30 inches, depending on your vessel sink's height. Having a sink that is way too tall is definitely not something you want to be dealing with on the daily. The same goes with shower head height. It should be installed according to your household's height. There's no code that I know of for shower head height, but it's usually placed around 80 inches off the ground, but it can range anywhere from 68 to 86 inches. If you're planning on installing a freestanding bathtub, allow for at least 8 inches clearance around it. People often install them right up against a wall, which makes cleaning almost impossible. If you don't have the space for it, then I highly recommend a back-to-wall tub instead. You'll thank me later for this tip. Not enough slope. If you don't have a proper slope on the floor of your bathroom, you'll end up with awkward pools of water that will take forever to disappear. There's even a code that mentions that all horizontal surfaces like sills and curbs must slope towards a drain or to other surfaces that slope towards the drain. This that is often overlooked and results in water gathering on flat surfaces, which becomes a breeding ground for bacteria and makes cleaning much harder. Not having a slope may seem like an insignificant thing, but it makes a massive difference in keeping your bathroom dry and safe. Beware of the open shower trend. Open showers are a polarizing choice. I know people who swear by it and others who hate it. Like most trends, the issue often comes down to it being overdone and built the wrong way, which ruins the whole experience of an open shower. Installing a splash guard and having slopes on the floor is essential for an open shower. Yet, I often see bathrooms that didn't take these into consideration. Unlike a closed shower, an open shower won't give you a hot and steamy effect, but a proper build will usually include extra wall and ceiling insulation, a heat source opposite the open end of the shower, or a heated floor, which helps keep the bathroom warm. Having neither of these and an open shower in a cold climate is a recipe for disaster. There are more factors to take into consideration, but a properly built open shower is generally way more costly than a standard 3-piece bathroom. I've seen too many doorless showers done wrong due to skimping on labor and materials. which resulted in a lot of negative experiences that people have with open showers. Foregoing a hand shower. Even if you love the idea of a rain shower head, I'd highly recommend including a handheld shower as well for practical reasons. They're really useful for days when you don't feel like washing your hair, especially if you have longer hair. More importantly, handheld showers make cleaning 10 times easier. It is almost impossible to clean the corners of your shower with a fixed shower head, a job that will only take seconds with a handheld shower. There are two options here. You can either have a handheld shower head and a fixed shower head that are separate, or opt for a combined design like a rail shower head. Shower mixer position. Have you ever stepped into a shower and been greeted by a blast of icy water when you turn on the mixer? Shower mixer placement is a small detail that is often ignored in bathroom design. Yet when done correctly, it is a nice quality of life improvement. My advice is to position the shower mixer on the wall that is within reach from the shower entrance, or have it offset slightly with the shower so you can turn it on and stay dry until the water warms up and the temperature is just right. Just make sure the mixer is not too far away from the shower itself. You still want to be able to adjust the water temperature while you're showering. Too many trendy finishes. It may be tempting to try out all the trendy finishes in your bathroom, but you need to remember that trends are constantly changing. What may be in style today may not be in style tomorrow, and you can't change your tiles and finishes on a whim. That is why it's always better to go trendy with your decor and styling, or even paint, as these things can be easily changed in the future. Think of your tiles and finishes as a canvas where you can paint on. I suggest thinking twice before changing plumbing layout. While you may want to change the location of your toilet, shower, and sink, moving these items around is more like major surgery than a minor facelift. Changing your plumbing layout is very expensive and never easy to do, especially when everything is laid down in a concrete slab. Before you move anything, think about why you want to do it, if it will significantly improve your bathroom, and whether it is absolutely necessary. In more cases than not, it is a better idea to leave your plumbing where it is and simply do a facelift. Not installing a shower niche or edge. While not having a shower niche or ledge is not necessarily a mistake in itself, many people regret not incorporating one into their shower design. They're a great way to neatly store shower products instead of having a cheap shower caddy or bottles all over the floor. You don't want massively disorganized bottles to be the centerpiece, especially if you already spent thousands on renovating. Niches are also a better use of space in smaller showers, as they are unobtrusive in comparison to a caddy, which you may bump into. There are two main routes you can take for this: either a shower niche or a shower shelf. A shower niche is a recessed shelf built into the shower wall, which can be vertical or horizontal. On the other hand, a shower shelf is a ledge that is built in front of the shower wall and doesn't have a top section or canopy. They are more suited to larger showers as they take up more space. If you do decide to install one, note down the height and depth measurement of the products you want to store and leave a bit of extra space so it doesn't look cramped. In terms of tile choices, choose ones that are similar to the tiles already in the shower, so the niche is seamless. If you want a contrasting feature, consider a patterned or textured tile with the same color as your floor or wall tile. If you prefer a different color instead, ensure that the colors work well together, as well as with other finishes. Choosing the wrong paint. It is a mistake to only consider paint color in a bathroom. Paint finish is just as important, or even more important, as the bathroom is a humid environment. We don't want your paint chipping or peeling. The baseline rule is that you should avoid using flat or matte paint in a bathroom, as they tend to show marks and are harder to clean. If you like the look of matte paint, consider the Benjamin Moore Aura Bath and Spa or Sherwin-Williams Duration range. They're much more expensive, but are formulated for high moisture areas. Alternatively, a standard range in satin or eggshell finish is always best, since they help to repel moisture. If you found this video to be helpful, be sure to check out our video on 3 biggest bathroom mistakes and solutions. As always, if you have any questions, let me know in the comment section below. Thanks for watching Built by Becker, and I'll see you in the next one.